my heart, to open my life to the love of God. Listen, you will always have broken.
Nice.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, nice.
All right.
See you're at the WWF match, so I won't I have to bother you from watching it.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's see. What's up, dude? I haven't seen you in a minute. How you doing?
Yeah, I just been busy working and I'm an uncle now, so been dealing with that.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Unc?
Yeah.
What's up? What up?
How are you doing?
Good. Let's see here. There we go.
Are you still in New York?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I'm still out here. Let's see.
Brandon, you're at the big fight.
Yeah. It's Monday Night Raw.
Hey, it is Monday Night Raw. Where is that anyway?
Where is it? What?
The background stuff.
I forgot. I forgot how I did it last time.
Don't you?
I don't even know how to take it down.
Forever at the fight, dude.
Yeah.
The boxers at the gym today watched the Muhammad Ali. Who was that? Was that Frazier? Who did he fight in 1974? I don't know.
George. It was either Frazier or Foreman. I'm not sure.
Well, you would know. It was red shorts against white shorts, and it was an epic fight, and he got the title back, the Muhammad Ali, at the end, and everyone thought it was a huge upset because he was really just up against the ropes the whole night.
I think it was George Foreman.
Okay. He was definitely not the George Foreman we know from the hamburger commercial.
Right?
At least you guys aren't here in 118 degrees.
Holy crap, we saw that.
Yeah.
The first time you posted your speedometer, I was like, what is this? I'm trying to figure out like what you were trying to tell us. And then I was like, oh.
Yeah.
120 degrees. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Harold.
Let's see. Thought Carrie was going to join us here. She called me. Thought she's going to be on. Maybe she's still coming, but let me put this in the there we go. Just in case you guys didn't, I sent the email just kind of, I sent the link in there, but it doesn't like hyperlink, and I never know if it's on because it's through the ZOE email thing. So I just sent it in the message here. Yeah, did you guys get to see the message or no? Did anybody watch it?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
I didn't yet.
I don't know why I'm ever surprised really with the message each week that he does. It's like it's coming at me personally every single time. But we've talked about that over and over, right? But it's like it's in psychology. They say the same thing. You don't ever see your car on the road until you buy one, and then everybody has it.
Yeah.
Which is what you see, right? It's what your mind's open to and your heart's open to. And I must be very open to everything that's going on in the seasons of what he has to say, because this last one, Bonded or Broken, the commitment to relationships, marriage and commitment, and just relationship in general, whether it's with your significant other or just friendships or whatever it is. Man, it took a lot out of me, actually. Going into the week, I was drained a little bit, but like the initial listening to it, I listened to it a couple of times. I always listen to his message several times, but like the first time I listened to it, I just must have been in a moment, because it was like,
Oh, Harold.
holy cow, right? And in a good way, but it hit, this one like hit in a different way. It hit really hard. Look at this guy. The Suns has you rocking the Suns. Rap it all day. I see both. I know these guys are on fire. It's crazy. Look at both you repping the Suns. Monday Night Raw up in here.
Nice. Brandon's in here. Nice.
It obviously those guys know when we were watching, and I think Alex, same thing. But you two are here from New York, but the Suns have been going on a terror, just like old school Suns all over again and winning everything. It's phenomenal to see. So pretty cool for Phoenix in the city.
Well, it's because Brandon hit 1,000 days. I mean, this is the lucky year.
Right.
Well, Matthew brought up a great suggestion and I think he might be the one that has to start it. Maybe you and Brandon started together, but I think the Connect group of the Suns is the real deal.
Yeah.
I think that's a great interest group, because I mean, who doesn't like to talk about sports? One, but the Suns are a topic right now, dude. I mean, they're there.
All the bandwagoners are coming out of the woodwork. So.
Everybody's busting out their gear.
Got to get them closer to Jesus.
Yeah. So I was just saying right before you joined there, Matthew. I was just saying about this message this week. You get a chance to watch it, right? You watched it. You sent me some clips and stuff. But man, this one hit home pretty heavy on me, and I think this is a great one. I sent some questions in the emails to you guys earlier just to think about, but for me, I wanted to share some stuff to start, and I kind of wanted to open this one up because this one's this, to me at least, was very personal, this message, and good timing for it. But something I've heard often that came up for me in this message was that I've always used these things. I've tried to learn as much as possible. I've tried to spend my time in my business and always constantly learn something, or psychology or mental health or physical health. I always try to learn something new and try to, in the light of bettering myself. But I've noticed in the past couple of years that I've really I've taken on so much information that I've started to take some of these things and make them glazed over, and not have a deep understanding of them or a deep meaning to them. And they've almost become these blanket statements for me, we always say, throw love at everything. Love is the answer. Or there's a lot of statements, the Corinthians, that you hear everybody's wedding all the time, It's not that I don't know these things, but they started glazing over, where I use them as almost Band-Aids, but they were Band-Aids on a gash, if that makes sense. It wasn't equal to what was actually happening with me. It wasn't equal to healing because I wasn't going deep enough in the meaning or the education of the things I was learning. And I almost feel like I was learning them for the sake of my clients and business almost, instead of like practicing them deeply with myself. So this message like really like just brought that out. It was like exfoliating my skin with like, I can't swear on this one, but you know what I'm saying? Like it got it out of me. And it brought to attention quite a bit of things like, you know, passions I believe in, things that I believe in, you know, my belief system almost. And it tied right into what in the message when Chad said, you know, we're mistaken sometimes by believing that we aren't worth God's love, right? That this concept to think about that we could be worthy of such greatness. How? Like it sounds like a good concept, but it's kind of hard to believe sometimes. And you know, we're not deserving of this life or that the activity, you know, as if any reason that any activity that we do determines in any way God throwing his love at you, right? Anything that we could possibly do on this earth would be any reason that he would not continue to throw love at you. And that's a concept that like I've struggled with for a long time. Just like self-worth and being able to like really fully delve into the acceptance of like, I could be worth something that great, or an unconditional love or God's love or acceptance in that way. I think that's why I've pushed so hard. But these last months for me in my life have been the quietest of my life, as far as like not a lot of noise going on, not a lot of, you know, I'm not working 7 days a week anymore. All those things again became this Band-Aid for a gash, and I was just buying time. And this message was like, one, the timing for this week, the timing of it was just unexplainable in my life personally, but such great things in this one. And I want to kind of open the floor. If you got the questions, if not, I can read them. But the questions I sent over in the email, or one is always the same question as we start with is, you know, what did you pick up from this message? You know, anything that was like stuck out to you, like that part for me stuck out to me when he said that about, you know, as if there'd be a reason that he wouldn't shower us with love. Like, how can we even think that? But I know I've been there several times. So that part for me really stuck out. Is there any part of the message that really you got attached to, or you really cling down to? Anybody want to share? A lot of smiles over here. Matt. Yeah.
Pastor Chad shouted you out. That was kind of cool. I remember that.
Oh yeah. Matt. So I didn't even catch that, by the way, the first time.
Now that was
the clip.
That was on the early service. I don't know if there was like a special edit, but yeah, he said that.
That was hilarious. You sent me that. I appreciate you sending me that. That was funny.
Sure.
Did anything in the message that he brought up about, you know, I think the biggest thing is bonded and broken is like, I'm sure everybody's felt both of those in life. And when I posted the thing on like Instagram, that I was trying to get some imagery of like, to me, what those two things mean to me. And like, I've been very clearly in both stages, and, you know, I want to live in the bonded area more often. You know, broken doesn't feel good, but broken starts right here. So, you know, that's what I'm working on to try to have less of that. But you smiling over there? Anybody else want to share something? All right, I'm gonna read the question real quick, because so the next question was about okay, so we were talking about relationships, and you know how this past season, if you will, he talks about seasons in shorter terms, but he was really talking about things opening back up in the world. And it's funny because I know last week was a kind of an off week, if you will, I was in New York City and we only had the phone. I couldn't get a computer. We were out and had the phone, and it was just Amber and Portia and Alex. And, we just really, it was a short version of talking about things opening back up. We were in New York City and like kind of surprised to see people back out. It was nice to see people coming back out and trusting each other and being close and not being so distant and kind of just getting back to normal. And that's the only really thing we talked about last week. So it was nice to hear his new title is Bonded or Broken, titled Opening Back Up, right? So he talked about your relationships, how they've been impacted during this time. Can you think about how any relationships leading into the season or during the season or even now have evolved or changed, and how they've changed or how this season has affected them? That was one of the questions he asked to us. And then the other one was, as things are being opened back up, our relationships also have the opportunity to open back up. However, we have made some decisions. We have to make the decisions to be open. Sometimes during the season, a lot of people got closed off or did close down, or not just by not talking to people, but in the way we live our lives. Less interaction, less community, less of what we are normally doing, like little things, going to the grocery store, going to the gym, like all those things are sometimes mindless in your schedule, but they're part of you being open to opportunities. How those changed, and now that things are open back up, do you see yourself doing things differently? And then the other one was, when we receive God's love, is it easy to love others? But a lot of times we resort to trying to earn God's love rather than simply receiving it. So that kind of rings in the bell that really resonated with me about, like, how could I even think that I'm not worthy of his love, my love, anybody's love? It seems a little ridiculous, especially in my mind, because of how much I've put myself in the realm of trying to learn self-growth and mental health and physical and human, all that stuff. It's like, I can't even, it's a kind of embarrassing to say out loud that I can't even believe that, I'd be worth some of those things. But it's a real battle. I think it's a real battle for a lot of people. And then I personally have to stop feeling alone in it. For me, I've felt pretty isolated in these feelings. I felt like, because of the high level of pressure I put on myself, well, nobody else would understand that, so I don't like to talk about it. Somebody asks me something wrong, I don't like to talk about it. I like to mold it over or put on a better face for them, so I don't affect their situation. But all out of all the same reason, rooted from the same cause. So don't love that, but love the message. I love the timing of it. Is exactly what I needed in my life at the moment, to recharge a little bit of my battery. But anybody want to? I got a hand there, Portia.
Yeah, I got stuff to say too.
I got something to say.
So comes to mind here that, so you said that the brokenness starts in here. Well, the bondingness starts in here, right? It starts within us, within our heart. And so what comes to mind, that does start within us. So once we stop thinking that we are less important or more important than anyone else, we are one human, right? We are not separate. No one is separate. And if we stay in the opposite, that's what keeps us married to the immortal illusion of the 3D, right? So ego equals edging God out, right? So that's where we see a lot of the discord. So if it starts within us and the love starts within us, we don't find it, we have to create it, right? It's just like happiness. We don't find happiness, we create happiness. And so our beliefs create the reality. So so listen to this perspective, right? So if Chad spoke about how you have the people always talk about doubting themselves. So it's like this. So and when you're doubting the creator, right? God is all within us and we are God. So when we're doubting ourselves and we're discounting our gifts and God created us already whole and complete. So an example would be like, say someone gives you a compliment or acknowledges you for something, right? People have such a hard time accepting that. And most people, they don't even acknowledge that they've gotten an acknowledgement, mainly because of their past conditioning. So when we don't accept it, it's like you're not accepting your power, you're not accepting God's power, and you're not accepting Source's power. It's like you're laughing at God, because the one who created you perfect, whole, and complete already. So you're being unopen. It's like saying, I'm not good enough. And you're also saying that God's not good enough, because God is already within us, right? So I think that if people looked at it like that, we could see how the world would open up so different for us, and that we would have endless possibilities and things would be infinite for us. And again, it all goes back to your mindset, right? So it comes back to remembering who you are and knowing that nothing and no one can take your power away, and that you don't have to give your power away. And so if it starts in what you create, just like we said, your mental world creates your physical world. It's like you can think that there's never ending dysfunction or discord all around us, if that's what you choose to see. But when you start to focus on yourself and the inner transformation of you, and that's when that changes, that's the awareness, and you wake up. And then that's, like I said, you remember why you came here to do. So when you clean up your mind and you shed those old layers, and you hit the Control Alt Delete, right? And you get rid of what's not serving you anymore. This creates the shift that you can live in that friendly universe, and you're not living in that duality or that hostile universe of the ego or they, and telling you what they want you to do. So basically what you do, how you do that, is if you choose to see everyone as a reflection of who they are, everyone really is just a child of God, no matter where they are in their journey. And I know sometimes that's hard to see that way, but if you do that, it's not necessarily for the other person, it's for you and what you get out of it. And so if we are open our hearts and explore more of ourselves and question, and when enough of us do this, that's where the saying, we're in this together, comes from, right? We're all in this together, bonded in the love for one another and for ourselves. And that's exactly where we started. And that's exactly how God created us. And that's what we're all working toward.
Love that. Beautiful. I love that. I just wrote in the text, I love the ego.
Yeah.
That out. Love that. So
Edging God out.
beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Amber?
I love that, Portia. That was beautiful. I love how well thought out, when you listen to these things, and really just how you articulate yourself and remembering what we're here for. And that's definitely part of your light and purpose. So you're amazing. Thank you. I didn't watch the sermon yet, but we have this recurring theme all the time. It's always self-love, love for God, how that reflects in us and outward towards the world. And so number one question, how did, the whole weird year affect relationships? I mean, for me, it always strips down and brings me back to what I always kind of innately feel is like, I don't want to be dependent on a society that I have to pay to get on a plane to see a loved one, or be afraid that someone's 3,000 miles away. And if somehow we went into martial law, that would affect me being able to, set up a sustainable situation with the people I loved, or all those type of things. So it's been really beautiful to have had decisions be made to make us closer and things like that. Number one. Number two, as far as like what we said about, we're always feeling like not necessarily unworthy of God's love, because here we are, like kind of woke people, like we do see the miracle, like we're looking around at it, we know conceptually, and like what you were saying, Mike, about like now the society is spiritually changing into this 5D reality. So there's a lot of jargon out there and a lot of like words and phrases that are really easily thrown around, and love is everything, and heal, and this and that, and so it doesn't necessarily, it's not actionable like we talk about. But I think that what happens is the trauma response. I think a lot of us coming around in this new stage of spirituality are coming from a trauma response situation where God, when we were born perfect with all of our fingers and toes and into a loving world where everything was possible, we were perfect and we didn't have anything imprinted on us. And then whatever traumas and things that disheartened us or scared us or made us fearful or made us feel unloved or whatever it was that imprinted on us, that was whether the devil or, you know, external factors, you know, years and years and years and decades of that then made us start to try to earn love from all the other people in the world. Like now I got to work double hard to feel like I'm even worthy of even a person's love, whether that's my friend or my boyfriend or my family or my brother or my mother or my father, no matter who it is in our life. And then we start overcompensating and becoming codependent. And that's where we then lose ourselves, right? And then we lose God because we start to go off that path because we start to become people pleasers, or the total opposite, very bitter and shut down and isolate, which is another form of self-protection, right? Yeah. And either one is a failure to connect. And so, you know, just as far as, you know, this that we do every Monday and all the ways that we try to keep connected to God and each other, just to remember that, you know, what are we going to do about it? You know, like, what are we going to do to keep holding ourselves accountable? When I really see people struggle and when I really get scared for the people that I love is when I see them isolating, because you can't live in a vacuum. God wants us to have witness. Having witness is what makes our life meaningful. Because if nobody's watching, if nobody can see you, separate from ego, just a life well lived, then you don't exist. You know, we have to leave imprints. We have to leave a mark. We have to leave breadcrumbs. We have to leave a trail. We have to model. And it's not about being in control of the outcome. It's just about making sure that other people can see us and keep us grounded. And so that what we do matters, because we're going to do things differently when people are watching. And that's probably the number one thing that I like to pass along to my students, or even to remind myself that if I always act as though I'm being watched, whether that's God or some big camera in the sky, I'm going to act a little bit more appropriately in line with my core values. And therefore that's going to benefit everybody, including myself and God. So I don't know. That's what came up for me.
That's great. That's wonderful. I love that. Love that. I got to share somebody's told me several times, like, this another like kind of blank thing, fighting these two things. Like, Amber and I grew up in a world of like unconditional love for love. And our mother was always like, it didn't matter how crappy it was or bad it got or what my dad did or what he did. It was always like love will cure everything. And it didn't really make sense growing up, to be honest, to me. But I started to learn it later. But again, it iced over because I hear other models, somebody I respect greatly has told me several times too, that, like, you know, sometimes love is not enough in a certain situation. And, you know, if I think about two of those things, you know, it doesn't make sense to hear two things when I grew up in this model and I hear another. But, you know, like, I had a very eye-opening conversation with somebody I really respect earlier this week on Friday or something, or Saturday, I can't remember what date it is now. And then Sunday's matches came along, and it was like, you'd think I would have talked to Chad about it because he like spoke about it, the same thing we spoke about. The point of it was that it's not about like the ideals of what you've heard or what you live by, or all these taglines we see on Instagram or our feeds, and which can be like quickly blanked over. Is more about the deep meaning of things, and what does it actually mean? What does it mean when somebody says that, like, love can cure all, just love is the answer, or, you know, love is not enough? And I think both have the meaning of, like, what's the actionable behind it? Yes. That's really the key of any of these statements. Like, you know, we're all in this together or anything. It's like, what is behind that wording? What's the substance? What's the actionable? And the same person, you know, told me that was the same person was like, it's about action. It's not about just believing in that saying, or just saying that saying, or just saying these words, or just reading the words all over again, or just reading the Bible for that matter. What are you going to do? You know, one of the beautiful things Chad said to me one time is, admittingly, so I'm not versed very well in the Bible. You know, I'm playing catch up as far as I'm concerned, this whole thing. And I've told him several times that, and it's not about catching up and like knowing the mainstays. It's about doing the work. You know, it's about doing the work, getting involved in the work, being in service, doing the thing. It's not about, people don't know you're a good Christian or have faith because you went to church and put money in the basket and listened and then went home. And then you went next Sunday. Did it? It's about witness, like Amber said, people witnessing you every day and watching you and going, you know what? I don't know that person's religion, but dang, they're a good person. You know, and that's part of being the Christian he was talking about. Like, it's the actionable things you're doing every day so people can witness. You know, that's another big thing for me. It's like, I got to watch myself from the other eyes, the lens that's watching me. So it's easier to hold myself accountable, or easier for me to make change, or easy for me to accept love. I mean, because if I can see myself in other eyes,
right, and without judgment.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's
or feeling it from others. It's about, what do I want to stand for? If I do want people to look at me as a model, what do I want? If I had $1 million in me, what would I really want? You know, do I want the me that's like, yeah.
You know, if I believed, you know, if I got a message randomly from Brandon or Matthew, and I know you two better, Amber and Portia. I know Portia writes me stuff all the time, but like, if one of those you two guys sent me something, and it was like this long paragraph of like, you know, anything nice that was directed towards me, I'd have a moment of like, you know, and if I just come on the other side of the phone and come from either one of your sides and I could witness my own life, or vice versa, I can, while I'm witnessing yours, God, it's so much easier to already know and accept the message. And that's my relationship that I'm having with God right now. It's like my like catch up is my catch up is like, I'm trying to have accountability through his eyes more often so that I can witness myself, like I can see myself. So then when I make decisions, they're not as hard, they're easier because I don't feel any certain way about myself. That I'm just part of all of us, you know, living. We're all here doing the same work.
You have to keep your heart open.
Yeah.
And to your point about love not being enough, like, that is confusing when you're a child or when you're younger, or when not. But how it becomes less confusing is when and I think all of us here in this page can relate to this, because I think it's one of our common bonds, is that we've all loved someone who has made it very hard because they were an addict, because they were an abuser, because they were broken, because they were hurting, because they were struggling, because whatever, right? Whether that was a parent, a spouse, a friend, a sister, a brother, whatever. We've all loved someone that did not love themselves. And when you do that for many, many, many years, you know, in all the different circumstances we've been in, and you finally realize that no matter how much you love someone, you can't change them or save them or fix them. That's where God's love really starts to get blaringly loud, because that's the point. We're not here to change other people. We are only here to model an alternative route. If people choose at this juncture in their life to, you know, take something from that or change their life because of it, that's their free will choice. But we get to detach from the outcome of what other people do and simply be the model, that be the change we want to see in the world, right?
I want to read a passage that was in the message today. That like, this was another part that just really hit me a little bit. So I just want to read it. It was, be completely humble and gentle, be patient, bearing with one another in love. Make every effort to keep the unity of the spirit through the bond of peace. So like, for me, that just reads like take back a little bit. My whole thing is I've always been racing in a direction. I've never slowed down. To take time to mourn, to heal, to be sad. I've always used racing to get through those things and away from them. You know, and today, fast forward today, I've everything is zoomed up in my life. Everything came, I thought like work through it, get through it, keep going. All you do is work hard, keep your head up, keep going. You know, we lost our dad, then we lost our mother and our grandfather. Like, I just kept working through it because I felt like, well, they're not going to want me to stop and cry over spilled milk. I got to keep working. But I'm going to tell you out of experience right today in this moment, that shit don't work.
No.
It doesn't work even a little bit. In this moment today, all that stuff is flooding my mind because I let go of that race. I let go of the every single day, nonstop, no time for nothing mentality. And it's not a hinder. I mean, I'm dealing with it right now. It's flooding in and I'm learning a ton, but dude, if I can rewind a little bit, like take on everything in the moment. I teach this in our psychology efforts in our business. I taught this to other people and I never even practiced it. That's what's crazy. That's the point. Application. You can't just read words out of the book. You have to apply them to your life. You have to apply them to every part of your life and the people around you. And Chad says that you can't have good relationships if you don't have good relationship with yourself or God. You can't expect good relationships. It's not that you can't have them. You can't expect them. If you're having a trouble with a relationship, where does it start? You know, he's talking about if you can't have a good relationship with yourself, how can you expect anything from another person in a relationship? If you can't have a good relationship with God, how can you expect a good relationship with another person? And dude, hindsight's everything, but I tell you that doesn't work because now I'm forced to deal with it all. But either way,
It's a practice. Everything that's good
Right.
in life, practice, right? Whether we do classical piano or a professional golfer, or where you go to the gym or get healthy, whatever we do, we have to practice daily in order for it to become easy. And that has to do with coping skills. That has to do with daily life skills. And the best news of all is that all the chatter of the human virus, okay, all of us little humans, la 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 la, we're like the cicadas, right? We're just like chat, you know, all we fucking do is, excuse my French, all we do is make noise, right? All the humans, they're just making noise. I know, I'm sorry, Chad, I love you. All we're doing is, he's listened to Biggie Smalls, he knows, he's heard the word. But you know, there's so much chatter and there's so much noise, but the perfect gift from God is that nature is slow but consistent. Like
Right.
there's never a summer without a rainstorm, right? And the lake is going to go on for 100 years after I leave this house, and the mountain will be there, and the desert will become the sea. And we're separate. You take that etching out of God, and you take that ego out, and you take all the chatter and the news and all the contriving and manipulation that we all do, and that the political parties do around us, and the money and all the BS that surrounds us in the human existence, and you quiet down and you go out to the woods for a walk, everything is absolutely perfect there.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Right.
Now, so, you know, we have a choice at all times, and it doesn't, even our grief and even the things that we're not used to dealing with, that we're just beginning to show up for and things, they don't have to be as hard always as we think conceptually. It's just a practice. Change it up and be one. Hug the tree and ground, and it's okay. Nothing bad is happening, really.
Yeah,
We need a hailstorm now and then.
yeah, his point 3 was it starts with me and ends with others.
Right.
Right. So he talked a lot about in the message that we've talked about this, but it starts. Go ahead, Matt.
No, go ahead, finish your point, and I'll go.
No. I was just saying that because of what she said. Go ahead.
I was just kind of a question off the theory of just like practicing something. So it's like essentially if I continue to like seek God and have this relationship with him, and I keep practicing it, like I don't know, do I become like a believer more, kind of just like how America, when they see the Phoenix Suns play, they see them more and more, and they're like, all right, well, this team's kind of good. So like, I just gotta continue this.
I think you're dead on, dude.
Yeah.
That's what having faith is, right? It's a trust fall. It's like the first time you jump off a huge rock into the ocean or a cliff, it's terrifying. And every time you do it after, it gets a little easier, and then it becomes almost fun, right?
We're actually running out of time here, but just to be clear,
You have to get congruent.
yeah. I think you answered your own question there. I love that question because yes, the more you have it, the more you see it. And I think
Yeah.
that's exactly how it all works. The car theory. You buy a car and all of a sudden everybody has it. Like you see what you want to see sometimes without even putting it in place. So yeah, I think pushing
And
more.
the law of attraction, you're attracting more and more and more in, more people like you, more you're vibrating at a certain speed that then attracts more things like that, more godly things, more good things. And you're going to be tested because that is why we're here. So, you know, don't be surprised when you're tested, no matter how much faith you have. That's just how will you respond or not.
And it's what with the testing, right? It's how you respond.
Yeah. Chad said the struggle is God's proof to you that he's right there with you.
Yes.
I love you guys. We're going to literally get cut off here. I promise we're going to figure out this upgrade. I'm just going to pay for it my own because we never run out of time. I love you guys, dude. I'll talk to you all night long. If I can. Love you. I
Good
appreciate
to
it.
see you all. Love you.
And have a good night.
See you guys.
God bless.
God bless.